Hi and welcome back to Dusty Book Sniffers. I'm Nicole and today we're here for my weekly wrap-up. Well, good morning or good evening everybody, no matter where you're watching from. Thank you for taking some time out of your day and clicking on this video and seeing what it's all about. As I said, I am here for my weekly wrap-up, which I've only read 3 books, which is a little bit surprising for me, and I'm going to talk about them here because I didn't record my thoughts straight after because I was out with company and whatnot. So I've been away for about a week. I've just sort of taken some time off the social medias and taken a break from filming, and I generally do that every school holidays, and we just had our winter break here and the kids have gone back to school, so it's a lot easier to get the recording done. I don't have to work around them. I don't have to worry about driving them here, there and everywhere, so it's just easier for me to take some time off. So that's what I did, and I took time completely off the socials as well. So some of you may have noticed that I started posting again over on Instagram and in Discord and all the rest of it, and yeah, so I'm back. I haven't had a lot of reading done because I've just been spending time with the kids and just relaxing basically and just enjoying not being on my devices and whatnot. So got a lot of TV watching in as well. I just started watching Lucifer because I started watching it when it first came out and then lost interest, and now I'm doing a little bit of TV watching in the afternoon, which is nice, a nice change. All right, so we're here to talk about books, not what I've been doing. I'm going to talk about 3 books today, one of them which is one of the chunksters that I have been trying to get through, and that's why I haven't been reading many books, because I've been reading a lot of big books. So as you would know, I'm reading Wheel of Time. I've just started that. I've also started reading the series, the Farseer trilogy from Robin Hobb, so that has got a fair few books in it. So in the Elderling realm. So yeah, I've been reading a lot of those big ones, and I'm still working my way through George Eliot's Middlemarch, although I haven't picked that up in the last week, so I'm not sure if I'm starting to lose interest in that or not, or whether I just had other things going on. Maybe that's what the problem was. Anyway, we're here to talk about 3 books. I'll just put my cup down, and we're going to talk about a couple of books that were really surprising to me. I did not know what any of these books were about. The first one I'm going to talk about is The Machine by James Smith, and yeah, I did not have a clue what this one was about. Like, I didn't read the blurb at all when I went into it. It had a little bit of a blurb in the inside cover, but it didn't really give away what the book was about. So basically it's following the story of Beth, and Beth is living on an island. I assume it's in the future, and it's based off the English coast, and she's living on an island, and it's very hot and dry, and so there was a lot of focus on the fact that she was living by herself. Her husband was in a home, and once upon a time there were these machines that removed bad memories and all that sort of stuff. So her husband was injured in war, and they agreed to have these machines take away the memories that he had, because he had come back from war and quite violent after his accident, which was a brain injury. And so they took all his memories out with these machines, and basically he was rendered a living void, so to speak. So the machines were good with some people, with other people it wasn't so good, and they ended up in what I could equate to a nursing home where they were looked after. And so basically the story is following that, and she has now since been online and been on forums and everything, and learnt that she can use these machines to put back the memories into her husband and rebuild him. And so the story flows on from there. It was very unexpected. I don't really know how to describe it without giving a lot away, but it was quite an interesting story, a really quick read. I actually listened to this and read along with it. So yeah, and then she starts putting the memories back into her husband, it just flows on from there, and then a series of events happen. She meets a lady that comes to the school because she's a teacher, and she meets a lady and becomes quite friends with her, and then she tells her what she's going to do. This lady is quite religious, and all the machines were taken away from society at one stage because the government, and that's in the blurb, because the government felt that they were too risky. There was not enough good coming from having these machines. But yeah, so it was a very interesting book. I was quite surprised from it. I really enjoyed the story. I gave it a 3 stars. But yeah, if you haven't read this, I recommend that you pick it up. It does have like a Frankenstein thing to it, and it does say that on a lot, like on the blurbs and on different things that because I've looked up for the author what else he's written, and yeah, there's always that reference to Frankenstein. I personally haven't read Frankenstein, so I can't make that assumption that it is, but yeah, so it's on my TBR, but I really enjoyed it. I absolutely think that you should give it a go. I got this one out. This wasn't picked by me. This was picked by a book grocer, and it was in one of their boxes. So I'm very happy again with the book that I have picked up. The other one that I have read is Aisha at Last. Now this one is, it says on the back that it's a Pride and Prejudice-esque type book. I don't think so. It is sort of, because I guess it's talking about the society, the Muslim society, and stuff like things like that. So it is based in Canada, and Aisha is the main character. She's incredibly smart. She has to give up her dreams of becoming a poet to be a teacher to help pay back her wealthy uncle, who paid for her schooling, and so it's following her story and also her uncle's daughter. I've forgotten her name, sorry, but she's on the precipice of being married, and it's an arranged marriage, but she is rejecting all these marriage proposals and whatnot. And Aisha's family want her to marry, but she has no interest in being married. She has no interest in having a marriage arranged for or anything like that. So subsequently she's looking after her cousin, or being with her cousin, and they're asked, and her cousin flits from one thing to the other, and so her cousin wants to be an event planner, and so the local mosque is looking to put on an event, and her cousin puts her hand up, and Aisha is to go with her. Well, her cousin's such a flake, she doesn't turn up, and Aisha is at this, and just prior to that she had been at a poetry reading, and her best friend Claire had invited a guy that she works with, and he is very conservative. He's handsome, he's very smart, but he's very conservative, he's very religious, and he believes that his mother will find him a bride, yada yada yada. And so while at the poetry reading, he makes a very harsh judgment of Aisha, and she overheard it, and so she got her nose out of joint. So basically they're enemies, and then it's definitely an enemies to lovers story, and so they end up working together, but he mistakes her for the cousin, and she doesn't correct him. And then the story just flows on from there, and that sort of all happens in the first couple of chapters. So the story just flows on there, and then it all comes to an end. It was a great book. It was a quick read. I really enjoyed it. I wouldn't say it's Pride and Prejudice as such, except for around their community based, I guess. I don't know. I didn't really like Pride and Prejudice. I guess I'm not a hopeless romantic. I was talking to my husband about it the other day. I'm like, I guess I'm not a hopeless romantic, and that's why I just don't get into that book. But anyway, I did enjoy this. I really did enjoy it. So if you haven't read Aisha at Last, I think that if you like that enemies to lover sort of storyline, and and just the comedy that goes behind that, then you'll definitely love this one. The next book that I finished, because I didn't start it last week, but I finished it last week, is the first book in the Wheel of Time. Oh my goodness, I I really love this book, or like this series already. I'm hoping that it continues on the way this book was set out. There was Rand, Matt, Perrin, Egwene, Nain, I think that's how you pronounce her name. I'm not really sure. Nynaeve, I think it is. Then there's the Aes Sedai and Lan, and they've all left the village because it was attacked by Trollocs, and this is in the first couple of chapters, and they've left, and so they've set off on this adventure, and they're trying to get to Tar Valon. And so basically the Aes Sedai is protecting the three boys, which is Perrin, Matt and Rand, and Egwene and Nynaeve have sort of just come along on the adventure. That I don't think they were supposed to be part of it, but they've come along anyway because they weren't going to leave their friends. Subsequently, the first third of the book, the first 200 pages in the book, it was them journeying together, and then they got separated. And I really like the fact that all the characters got separated, and they got separated into groups, because you got to know the characters a little bit better. I'm not a fan of Matt. I think he's a idiot. He just, like, yeah, he's told not to do things and then he does them. Like, I just got very frustrated with his character. But I like Rand. Egwene, I really like. I'm looking forward to seeing where her character goes. And Perrin, I really like him as well. And the Aes Sedai, she's a bit shady. Like, you get a bit of a shady feel from her, but I really loved how all the characters were separated and you got to know them a bit better, and how they're going to fit into the story and all that sort of stuff. Now, I know that a few people that watch me haven't read this, so I'm not going to give spoilers in it at all. There are plenty of other places where you can go and get spoilers. But yeah, so, and then they end up getting back together, and the story flows on from there. So that was sort of the middle part of the book, was them all separated, and then the last third of the book, they've come back together. And so they've grown by the time they come back together, which is really good. The other thing that I really liked about this book as well, every time I felt like it was starting to get a little bit stale, like, you know, when you're reading along, especially something this big, you know, like you're reading along, and sometimes you could get to those points where it's just a little bit slow. You're thinking, why am I reading this? Like, not because it's bad, but why is this in here? Why is it necessary? Jordan then would bring in some sort of thing to happen, and it'd just pick up the pace really, really good. Like, so it ebbed and flowed really well throughout the book. So I absolutely love how he's written it and how it ebbed and flowed. As I said, I love how he separated all the characters so you could learn more about them and see them grow and see what their capabilities were, what their strengths were, and all that sort of stuff. Rand seems to find himself with Matt. They just kept finding themselves in predicaments that they really shouldn't have been in. But anyway, and, you know, Perrin and Egwene, they were together, and I think they should get together, to be honest. I think that they really should get together. They just seem to have a chemistry, and yeah, just that underlying chemistry there. I just got that feeling from it, but I really loved it. I am picking up book 2 this week, so I'll be starting that, and hopefully have that finished by the end of the month. Probably not, it'll probably roll over into August, but I'm going to give it a go. Other than that, that's all I've really read this week, and I've got a few books on the go. I've still got the second book of the Farseer trilogy on the go, and I still have Middlemarch on the go, and yeah, I'll be starting to read Frankenstein and Silas Marner, which is a George Eliot and Mary Shelley is Frankenstein. I probably got that around the wrong way, but yeah, anyway. I'll be reading those over the next couple of weeks. All right, so that's it from me today. Have a great day, everybody, and don't forget to give me a thumbs up down below, leave me a comment, and hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet. Hit that subscribe button, and I will see you all again next time. Bye for now.